Okay, I have a doozy. She's a psych nurse, which scares the bejeebers out of me. I'm going to do two videos on her because I am. Because she gave me two videos that I need to address. This one's probably going to be a short one. Yeah, let's just get into it.
What if parents started going to therapists and started talking about the things that we were put through with our children that they had no empathy for us about? Like the STDs they came down with, the pregnancy scares, the stealing our car, the stealing money, the pursuing boys that were out of their age bracket and having to go to court. What if parents actually told therapists what was really going on inside their house? We have all these kids on this app recording you, yelling and screaming, your house is trashed, and nobody has a clue that you are absolutely at the end of your rope because nobody will pick up anything but you. Nobody will do things just because it needs done.
My head hurts from that one. What if parents started going to therapists and smear campaigning their children? Mine already did it. And of course, it was supposed to be my therapy session, so that didn't happen because it completely shut me down because she smear campaigned me in front of me to the therapist. I had a baby at 17. I ran away and lived on the streets. All the things I did to her. Do you hear this, parent? She's got 4 adult children. I think different ones, haven't talked to her at different times. I think she's estranged from one currently. Currently, like around the time this video was made. I watched a few things on her content. There's some stuff that, it doesn't give me enough background information other than to know she is the victim. She was at her wit's end. She had to go to court over her daughter pursuing an older boy. So it's her daughter's fault. The younger child in that mix, it's her fault that she threw herself at an elder boy. Is that what she's really saying? And it went to court. Was that for statutory rape, ma'am? Is that why it went to court? Because that's what it sounds like. But go ahead, blame your daughter. Oh, and we feel so bad for you that you were in that situation. Like, the ick, I can't, she makes me sick and nauseous, especially since she's a psych nurse. Also, I have to go with the assumption she's talking about her own children. And her daughter, one of her daughters, and she posted this, not me, went through a domestic violence situation, just like she did. So she is a mother, didn't break the cycle of abuse from her own parents. I do feel sorry for her in the regard of she was a CPS child kind of thing. And so she definitely has trauma that she obviously hasn't resolved and decided to become a psych nurse. Okay. She had a violent marriage, and she's now the victim of her daughter and shocked that her daughter did the same. Well, we do the love that we know. And on actually the flip side of that, there's a video where she's talking about, well, my daughter gets me now because she's been through what I've been through. Now I'm getting empathy. F the right off with that. You vile, unempathetic, horrible human being. And I'm using human being loosely. Her face is online, and I'm going to go ahead and assume, I hate assuming things, but in this case, because I've seen other videos, that the people in your community are seeing your face while you're talking about your children and smear campaigning them. And then you want us to have empathy for you because you were at your wit's end for an environment of instability and, I guarantee you, emotional abuse that you perpetrated on your children. And then you want to take it a step further. You want to be seen in sort of the same light as, when these parents film their children ripping up the house or something like that. Well, maybe if you weren't filming and embarrassing your children and parenting, that might not be happening. Let's start there. And usually these children are a bit older, they're teenagers. How is it that they got so dysregulated outside of a mental health issue that doesn't come from trauma? How is it that that happened? Kids don't just grow up and become completely dysregulated like that unless something happened where you didn't co-regulate with them and parent them when you were supposed to be doing it when they were young enough and going through their developmental stages to actually make an impact. I mean, I have 3 kids. I had 2 stepsons. Not one of them has ever shredded a room. The worst thing they ever did was slam a door. I'm not the perfect parent. My own daughter estranged from me for a couple of years. That was, a couple of decades ago, and she actually asked me for parenting advice now. Nobody's the perfect parent. I passed down trauma. I was emotionally immature. And in spite of that, all of my children fared quite well. I mean, talking about one of her kids is stealing cars. How dare you go online and smear the children that you're meant to stand in protection of? I don't care what the circumstances are. This tells me everything that I didn't need to know about her. What are your thoughts, folks? What do you think? Like, the way she put this, immediately my first thought was, well, my mother did that my entire life. She probably still is. Except she's just not keeping it in therapy where it might where it would actually be private. She's telling anybody who will listen, because she is the victim of me, just like you are the victim of your own children. And she's the same one that'll go on and talk about victimhood and all that and kids being stuck in it. I'm going to leave it here. Give me your thoughts. And by the way, if you have a minute, please like, follow, and share. I would appreciate it. Let's continue growing and educating one another in this community. I'm here for the estranged parents that want repair, and actually I found one who is repairing her relationship. I'm hoping I can get her on my podcast. If I can't, I understand that she just doesn't want to go down that road, because she's repairing the relationship with her son and daughter-in-law. All this to be said, I'm going to feature one of her videos because I think that's, you're going to see why she's repairing her relationship.